Welcome to a brand new edition of It's All Relative. I'm Josh.
And I'm Angela.
And today we're discussing everything horror. The movies, the actors and actresses, the villains, the impact the genre has had over the years on society, and whether it will rise or continue to decline in the future. And helping us tackle this topic is a special guest whose resume checks all the horror boxes. We'll hear from him as he shares about his love for horror, as well as hear about some of the many actors and actresses that he's met who have all been on the big screen. So you guys already know what to do. Turn it up and let's get it rolling with an all-new episode right here on the It's All Relative podcast. Quickly want to mention that our show today is not just being released as audio, but video as well. So big shout out to Stellar Sound and Media for the video coverage with today's show. Once this episode is released, there'll be a YouTube link, so make sure you guys check that out. But Angela, thanks for being here.
No problem.
What's good with you?
Same. Just daily, day-to-day struggles of being a mom.
Mom life.
Going to sports and yeah.
It's that time. What type of sport? Baseball? Basketball?
Cheer, actually.
Oh, cheer.
My daughter's doing cheer, yeah.
Right on. But you ready to talk about some horror?
I'm ready to have nightmares tonight, yes.
All right. So let's get our guest on. Making his first appearance on It's All Relative, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony DeCaprio.
Yay.
Hello.
Hey, bro. Thanks for agreeing to come on It's All Relative.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. So before we get into the show, I always like to loosen everyone up a little. So we're going to play a quick horror movie quote game, okay?
Okay.
Pretty simple. All right, I'm going to read some famous horror movie quotes, and we'll see who gets the most correct answers, and for the listeners, they can see if they get the answers correct as well. We probably will, since you, Anthony, are a horror zealot. We're going to let Angela probably answer first on most of these.
Sounds good to me.
All right. All right. So let's start. Angela, real simple, right? Name the movie. Okay.
Not multiple choice. Go ahead.
All right. You ready? What's your favorite scary movie?
So this is just my opinion.
Sure.
Or are you talking about the actual scary movie series number one, I would say? Go ahead.
No, the movie. What?
Okay, the first one.
Which was what? What's the name of the movie?
Scream.
Okay.
That's that the scary movie you're talking about?
I don't know. I'm asking you. Is that your answer?
I think I'm confusing it with the spoof.
Okay, well, is that your answer?
From my favorite scary movie.
That's the quote.
What movie is the quote from?
I'm going to say Scream.
Okay. Anthony?
You're right.
Am I?
Yes, you are.
Scream, yes. You're right.
See, I had me thinking I was on the wrong track. Go ahead.
All right, ready? Second quote. Angela, we'll start with you again. It's alive. It's alive. Guess any. If you don't know, just shout out a horror movie that you know.
It's alive. It's alive. The Terrifier.
Okay, what do you say, Anthony?
Frankenstein.
You are correct. It's Frankenstein. All right, move on. Ready? Third quote. You'll float too.
It.
Answer, Anthony?
That is correct.
It. Good job. Next quote. Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Oh, I know this one. Say it in the voice from the movie.
I can't do that.
All right, say it one more time.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Night Walker or pass.
Anthony, do you know?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh,
Good job.
was gonna say that, but I didn't think it was right.
All right, so wait, are you guys keeping track too? My fault. Of what you guys got correct. I hope so.
I don't know how many you said, but I think I got one or two right.
Okay.
I'm still gonna keep track.
Okay. Here's the next one. Ready? Here's Johnny.
Oh.
You got this. Come on.
I know this one. It's got Jack Nicholson in it, but I don't remember The Shining.
Anthony?
The Shining.
Yeah, correct.
I do that to my kid all the time. Here's Johnny.
All right, next quote. I'm your friend till the end.
Oh, Chucky.
Be more specific.
Child's Play.
There you go.
Good job. So you are getting some of these. Should we let Anthony answer first on a few of these real quick? So you can't just copy his shit, though, all right? Unless you absolutely know that it's 100% correct.
It's gonna be hard, but okay.
Okay. Anthony, we all go a little mad sometimes.
Well, that's actually in 2. Do you want the original?
The original.
Okay, Psycho.
I agree with that.
You both are correct. Next, Anthony, I want to play a game.
Saw.
Angela?
Child's Play.
Anthony, you are correct.
What'd he say?
Saw.
Saw.
Saw. Oh yeah. I
Um,
watch all those 3 though. Just so scary.
these last 2, we'll just first we'll let you both answer at the same time because they're pretty. Hopefully, you both know them. But I see dead people.
The Sixth Sense.
Oh yeah, the 6.
Okay, and the last one, they're here.
Oh, Poltergeist.
Wow, good job.
Very good.
Good job, Angela. All right, so I wasn't keeping track, but I guess Anthony, you did very well. Angela, you did surprisingly well. Good job.
Did do
Better
very
than I
well.
thought. Better
Congrats.
than I thought.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right, so let's move on. Anthony, as I mentioned before,
Yep.
you're a horror fanatic.
Yes, sir.
What is it about the horror genre that got you hooked, and when or what age were you?
Oh, wow. Well, I was like 5 years old.
Okay.
The first film I had ever seen was Halloween 4. It was playing on HBO for the first time, and my older brother and sister were watching it, and I kind of just got sucked in, loved it. But I don't know specifically what it is about horror that got me. So I think it's just the fact that it's something that it's a situation where you would never actually want to experience it. You can experience that by living through that movie.
Right. It's being able to feel that fear, but knowing
But not
that
Knowing that you're
Yeah.
100%
You can be
safe.
alright. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. Halloween 4, huh? Now being an adult, what do you think of Halloween 4?
I mean, I still love it. I love most of the Halloween movies, with the exception of a couple. But when you get older, you see the cheesiness and whatnot. But I think for its time, it still kind of holds strong today.
I feel you. I'm for the life of me right now, I'm getting a little confused with 3 and 4, because I know one of those 2 sucked, and I can't remember.
Well, the third one is the only one to not feature Michael Myers in it.
So it was that one. That one. Okay, so
That one does have a cult following, though. That does have a really big cult following.
I have
People
heard.
do love it.
I have heard that multiple times. I don't understand why though, because it had nothing to do with.
If it had a different title, the movie would be great. It would be great as a movie all on its own. I
Okay.
think people just hold on to the fact that it has the Halloween title, and they just kind of can't let it go.
Okay. Let me ask you, what's your favorite horror movie and why?
Favorite of all time, huh? The Return of the Living Dead.
And why?
Because it has everything in it. It's got horror, it's got comedy, it's got drama. It's perfect. It's perfect all the way around.
So highly
It's all
recommended.
practical effects. There was no CGI back then. It shows a certain period of time where horror movies were at their best.
Have you seen that movie?
I did, but it was a long time ago.
Okay. What's the last horror movie that you watched that actually scared you?
That's a good question. That genuinely scared me.
Yeah, and instilled some form of emotion in you.
The Fourth Kind.
Oh, bro, that's actually a great movie.
The movie scared the shit out of me.
I don't remember that one. Is that an alien?
Yep.
Based off true events, which I think we had mentioned too off mic, are the movies that I feel like cause the most or spark the most fear in me is the movies that are based on actual true events or things that on that level.
Yep.
Because there's something about that, that shit really
'Cause it
happened.
could possibly happen.
Which, getting back to the Fourth Kind too, is was brilliantly done the way that they would split screen that and show the actor portrayal and then the actual like footage.
Yep.
At the same time. That shit was super dope. Plus, the lady losing her child or her child being abducted and whatnot, and they have that on camera and whatnot. That shit's pretty wild.
I want to see this now.
Yeah, definitely
The
check it out
Fourth
if you.
Sense?
The
Fourth Kind.
Good job. That's a movie that I would definitely recommend though too. To
Sure.
anyone that hasn't seen it. Fourth Kind. What's the actress's name that plays in that?
Mila Jovovich.
Yes. Highly recommend. But
Have you ever watched a movie so terrifying that you had to turn it off?
No, I don't think so. I mean, terrifying
Or, like, couldn't-
in
like,
like
not,
disgusting,
like-
but not scary.
Like just any movie that you couldn't.
And I don't mean disgusting as in like gore. Like there are movies like Siberian or no, wow. Never mind. Can't remember the name right now.
right on.
Oh, Serbian film. Sorry, I knew I was on the right course there. But that's a really tough pill to swallow. I don't know if either of you have seen that, but
No, I don't think I've
if you want to
seen
see some disturbing shit, watch that.
What's it about?
Just watch it.
it. He's like, I don't even want to talk
Yeah,
about
just watch it.
I can't remember for the life of me. I had we had an author on the show, and the conversation kind of steered off to some horror talk because he's a big horror fan, and he mentioned a movie too, which I can't remember. It was like a movie that was super fucked up, and I can't remember if it was that movie or not. So
It's
that's
possible.
why. But
It was banned in a bunch of countries.
for real,
Wow.
Oh yeah.
brutal. Let me ask you: is there a certain concept that you like to see in horror movies?
Not particularly.
Okay.
It just depends. They just got to be consistent with the story. Like some movies just put crap out there just to exist, and it
Mhm.
doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So just as long as it has a topic or like a theme and it sticks to it
Mm-hmm.
and it gets the point across and it doesn't leave you thinking like what the hell in the end.
Okay, so what's your favorite horror franchise?
Well, definitely Halloween,
Okay.
but with these Terrifier films coming out now, there's only 2, but they're fantastic.
Which I do I do want to ask you a few questions a little bit later on about those films.
Okay.
So we will cover that. But you
Yeah, me
mentioned
too.
right on. You mentioned Halloween
Right.
being favorite franchise, which is most people's favorite franchise. Friday the 13th being
Close number
close, and as well as the Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger story. Angela, I know you're not a huge horror fan, but if you had to pick, do you have a favorite? Or
I guess if I'm talking horror movies, I like more like the supernatural, poltergeist, that kind of thing. But out of the ones those 3, I think the Nightmare on Elm Street was.
right on. Well, Poltergeist was that how many movies?
It was a trilogy.
Okay.
and then a remake.
So, all right. Anthony, let me ask you.
Sure.
Talk to us. What's your favorite on-screen kill? Or
That's a good question.
or one of them.
My favorite
there's
is
many.
is the new famous, the first Terrifier film.
Okay. So we'll get back into that then.
Ah, come on.
All right. So real quick then, give us your favorite horror actor.
Favorite horror actor. Wow.
If you had to pick
honestly, that's a really good question. All right. Well, just because I had a pleasant experience with him, Robert Englund.
one. Okay. What about favorite horror actress?
Maybe Linnea Quigley.
Okay. Real quick, I should have asked you. I'm sorry. Real quick, name a few movies that both of those actor and actresses play in, just in case people don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger.
Mhm.
He's been in a whole bunch of movies.
Well, that one, I mean, most people will know.
He has like the most memorable face, honestly, even outside of the makeup. But Linnea Quigley, she was Trash in The Return of the Living Dead, my favorite movie.
Okay.
Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, Night of the Demons. She was also made a cameo in Night of the Demons remake. A whole bunch of films with her. She's probably been in more films than Robert Englund has.
Nice. All right, let me ask you your favorite horror director.
Eli Roth.
Good call.
Damien Leone's really getting up there, but he's only got the 2 movies so far.
Now he's the Terrifier movie one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good job, Angela.
So you got this.
The Eli Roth one, though, list off a few of those movies that he's done.
Cabin Fever.
Mm-hmm.
Hostel.
Mm-hmm.
Green Inferno.
Okay, I have seen Hostel. I thought for its time, when the first one came out too, was pretty brutal. You ever seen that? You ever seen it?
No, I haven't.
I saw that shit in the movie theater.
It's the genre they call torture porn.
Yeah, pretty crazy. But all right. So if you could recommend one horror movie to someone, what would it be and why?
For somebody who's just starting off on horror?
Sure.
Okay. Well, then you got to start with Halloween because it's very tame, but can still be terrifying. And it gets, it's going to get your bones nice and chilled watching that.
Yeah, we often mention that movie so many times on other shows too, just because it was so brilliant. I fucking have trouble saying that word today.
Brilliant.
Brilliantly done. So, give me your favorite villain or killer?
Art the Clown.
Art the Clown. Getting back to Terrifier.
It's probably, dude, Terrifier is just something awesome that's happening to horror these days.
Okay. And like I said, we will get into that a little more in depth because I do have questions about that movie too. But real quick, let me ask you, in your opinion, what is it that makes people dislike the horror game? What do you think?
Some people are just weak.
Weak? How so?
They're too easily scared.
Okay.
They look at it like way too seriously. They don't just watch it as a movie. They look at it as something that's actually going to happen to them if they watch it.
Okay.
And a lot of people can't handle the gore either. So.
Yeah, Angela, you agree?
Well, no, I mean, not for me. I don't like to watch them because, I'm home alone. I don't think it's going to happen to me, but I don't know. It just creeps me out. Then I feel, vulnerable. But
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And then the next thing you know, I'm having nightmares.
Right on.
But it's hard to look away, too, sometimes.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, but Angela, you got any more questions for Anthony?
Were your parents horror fans as well? Or just your siblings?
Yeah, no, my parents aren't really that into it. But, yeah, I had an older brother and an older sister, so, I had all the hookups.
Nice. We weren't allowed to watch scary movies.
Yeah, if my mom saw half the shit we were watching, she'd make us turn it off.
All right. Angela, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue to hear from Anthony as we discuss whether the horror genre as a whole has already reached its peak and have the new generations fallen off and lost interest. We'll also hear about Anthony's experience with some actors and actresses that have seen on the big screen. So make sure you come back with us right here on the It's All Relative podcast.
Boom in the game now, shit's the same now. Explode next mode, I'm the same how. Don't say you know me, just say you did. When you see me sliding off to another crib. Boom in the game now, I'm the same how. The rap game will never be the same now. Don't say you know me, just say you did. And when you hear why yo, say that's that shit.
Welcome back to It's All Relative. Still with me in studio, Angela Galente
Hey.
and Anthony DeCaprio.
What's up?
Now, Anthony, when I was doing my research, I came across something that one of the OG horror writers goes by, and he, being Stephen King, he says there are 3 levels of horror. All right. One being the gross out, excessive blood, gore, what have you. 2, the horror, which could be, I guess, summarized as a graphic portrayal of the unbelievable. And 3, the terror. Fear is solely caused by imagination. Talk to me. Do you agree with these 3? Is it a fair assessment of defining horror, or do you disagree?
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about you, Angela?
Yeah, sounds good.
So, I mean, we did mention off mic before, but you were asking about, is this considered or defined as horror and whatnot? So, do you think the horror genre reached its peak in the late 80s, 90s, or do you think currently it's exceeding what it did years ago?
I don't think it's exceeding it.
Okay.
I just think it's kind of going back to its roots.
With a lot of remakes, you mean? Or
No, not even. I think a lot of movies are trying to get back into practical effects.
Okay.
And keeping it rated R as opposed to the PG-13 CGI-infested films that they keep putting out in the last decade or so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is my opinion, but, I think that people love horror movies because, I think we touched on this before, but they love to get scared, you know what I'm saying? But but knowing that the end result is not going to happen, right? I'm always waiting for a good horror scary movie to be released, but me personally, I haven't seen one in a while. I have, however, heard a lot about the movie Terrifier. You had referred to this a few times earlier in the show.
Yes, sir.
So let's hit it. Let's talk about this because, first off, Angela, have you seen the first or second movie?
No. I
Okay.
did watch the trailers for both.
Okay. Well, I have also seen parts of the movie, yes, or the trailers and whatnot, but I also have not seen the movie. I'm willing to bet good money, Anthony, that you have seen both, first and second.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So talk to me about these movies. I've heard a lot about them. Like I said, I don't think that there were, or I haven't come across any new horror movies that are good or that intrigue people, or suck them in. But I've heard a lot about this movie, more so the second one. But first, I guess answer. Have you heard? I heard a lot that people who had seen this movie were, there were people who were passing out or getting sick in movie theaters. Is this? You heard that false count? True?
Oh no, that's true.
Yeah.
I've read on several different sites confirmation on the whole thing. I did not experience it personally when I went to see it, but when I went to see it, there was like maybe 20 people in there.
Really?
Yeah, we got a really good showing.
Nice. Okay, well, so talk to us about that. Talk to us about the movie. Why? What makes it so?
Different
Yeah.
from the rest.
Well, it's just completely unforgiving.
How so?
It's just absolutely brutal in every single possible way that you could think of. There's really, without giving too much away, there's really no happy ending. It's all 100% practical effects, which is fantastic. That's every horror fanatic's dream, and you don't get very much of that these days. The character is 100% original. It doesn't rip off any previous character or anything. The acting for a B low-budget horror film is pretty good, actually. Yeah.
The villain being, I've heard a lot. People have seen pictures of Art the Clown. Most people, I feel like a lot of people throughout their life at some point may have been scared or eerie towards clowns.
Terrorized.
Either of you go through a period of time where you never really had an issue with clowns?
No, they never did it for me.
You know what I didn't like is those I don't know what they're called, but they're like these porcelain. They're almost like gestures. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
It's not exactly a clown. It's like a clown, but it's
mimes.
Like, got the funny hat.
A Joker?
Kind of like a Joker, but I think they're called gestures. I don't know what they're called, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah. When you said jester, I thought you meant something different, so I was a little confused.
Like they're kind of like clowns, but they're not like your traditional clowns. They're more jokery. Those things always bothered me.
Why?
I don't know.
It's just something about them.
It's just something about them. My sister used to collect them and did not like them.
They used to stare at you.
Yeah, it was just weird.
All right, so,
But that's kind of what the Terrifier reminds me of, for some reason. Like, so that's why it's like.
Okay.
It's interesting.
It's like the perfect combination of like your standard creepy clown and a mime.
Yeah.
Because his performance throughout both movies is 100% silent. There's no talking. He doesn't make any noise.
Really?
Not
His
even
laughs,
like
his
grunting?
laughs are 100% silent.
So that's different.
That's creepy.
He's got no dialogue through the whole movie.
Nope.
That's pretty crazy. Now, who's the director of the Terrifier?
Damien Leone.
Okay. You had mentioned very brutal. I've also heard too low budget film, which then most people would tend to think that it would be pretty shitty. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, I think when they originally did it, it had it was crowdfunded, and it didn't even hit its goal. I think it was on like a less than $40,000 budget for the first film, and the second film was on only a $250,000 budget.
And do we know how much it made?
millions.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure.
made tens of millions.
It's a rare, I think, occurrence, but like for an indie or such a low budget film to be able to hit so big on the big screen.
And it wasn't even wide released either.
Yeah.
That's
It was
wild.
it was only in like I think like 700 theaters or something like that. Maybe even less. I'm not sure, but
Dang.
So that alone should make you interested and want to see this movie. Like I said, for me in particular, I'm not such a big fan on the whole like gore and messy shit like that, which is a big part of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I am very interested. I still am going to watch this at some point. What would you recommend? I'm sure probably start with the first one and then second one, or do you have to?
well, if you want to get technical, there's it all started from another movie called All Hallows Eve, and it's one of the segments in that film,
Why do I feel like I know that one?
and that you can watch that like if anybody has Tubi. If you don't have Tubi, download it. It's free. You just have to deal with ads and stuff like that. So, but all this stuff you can catch up on that, and it's worth watching.
Nice. Now, before I ask that real quick, Angela, you got any more questions about this movie for Anthony?
No.
Something that you'd want to watch alone?
I would definitely do it in the daytime and watch a couple comedies afterwards.
Actually, real quick, Anthony, let me ask you then too. Give me, I mean, we're not really spoiling it for anyone, but give me one of the best kills or kill scenes in Terrifier 2.
Terrifier 2 or either one of them?
Okay, we'll do either of them.
Because I would say the greatest kill I've ever seen in movies, period, is in the first Terrifier. Okay, the actress Catherine Corcoran, she ends up getting cut right in half with a bone saw.
Ooh.
This way or this way? Not that it really matters.
All right, she's upside down with her legs spread.
So right.
Gets cut
right down the middle.
from the vagina straight down through the head.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Damn.
Actually, I'm sorry, it wasn't a bone saw. I think it was a hacksaw. I don't know if that
That's
matters.
worse. That's like
Yeah,
duller.
he's legitimately just sawing
like
away
a
at her.
bone
It wasn't
saw with a
anything. It
metal
wasn't anything
level.
electric or anything like that. So
That is one unique thing that I think I do remember hearing was that this Art the Clown he carried around like a bunch of tools and shit, and
it was like a big black garbage bag
that
you don't even know what's in it.
Oh, okay, but he would use
I
like
did see that in the trailer. It was very. I thought a body was in it though. I guess we don't know.
It does look like that.
All right, so I mean, bottom line, a movie recommended
For sure.
for sure.
For sure.
Okay.
Not for the lighthearted,
No, definitely not.
light of stomach.
Definitely
whatever you
not.
wanna call it.
I mean, if you're feeling brave, then bring a bucket with you or something like that.
Yeah, that'd probably be me. And like I said, I'm not a huge
Watch
fan
it on
of
the
that kind
toilet.
of stuff. Nah.
Joking.
But all right, let's move on a little.
Sure.
Anthony, you've got a huge list of famous actors and actresses that you've been able to meet in your lifetime. Just to name a few real quick, Clint Howard, Rose McGowan, Tom Noonan, John Abrams, David Arquette, Devon Sawa, Tony Todd, Skeet Ulrich, and the list goes on and on. But first, talk to us. How do you meet all these people? Like explain this whole process.
I'm a regular convention goer,
Okay.
and I go to like Monster Mania, Chiller Theater. I think the first one I ever went to was Horror Hound. Been to Days of the Dead. There's a whole bunch of different ones, Scarecon. But the main one my friends, family, and I always go to is Monster Mania in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Nice. That sounds fun, actually.
Yeah. It's just usually the one that gets all of the bigger stars, more relevant in the horror world, I guess you could say.
Is it kind of like Comic-Con? People dress up like horror people?
Some people, yeah. It's not as big on the cosplay, but you get some pretty cool outfits at times.
Nice.
I myself have not done it yet.
The dress up part?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't usually go for the whole weekend or anything like that. And if I'm doing my own thing, I don't have time for that,
Right.
But it's definitely in the plans one day.
Okay, now, how do you hear about these things? You just keep your ear to the ground, or you get certain alerts, or...
Well, originally, before I knew about any of the other ones, I would read like Fangoria magazine, Horror Hound magazine, and I found out about one in Horror Hound magazine. That's how I ended up going to my first one out in Columbus, Ohio. And from there, I just through the horror community, social media and stuff like that, then I found out about Monster Mania. And that became, because that one's significantly closer than Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
That became like the local one. And then from there, you find out from other ones, because then you start following the cons, the celebrities, all the stuff, all on social media, and they just start posting all the different ones they're going to be at, or the different ones that are coming up. And it just kind of works out that way.
It's domino effect.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's dope. I was going to mention real quick and ask you about the whole travel thing. You mentioned Ohio. Is that the farthest that you've traveled?
Nope.
No? Where's the farthest?
Indianapolis.
You drove?
Yeah.
Who'd you meet there? Or what made you want to go that far?
Well, we were originally going because John Leguizamo was supposed to be there,
Okay.
and he bailed like a week before the show.
That sucks.
There were still plenty of other people going. Like a got to meet Cassandra Peterson again while I was there. That's Elvira. I met Ted Raimi while I was out there. That's Sam Raimi's brother. Features in a lot of his films too. Really nice guy. John Kassir, who plays the voice of the Crypt Keeper.
Mm-hmm.
He was there. So it was still worth it driving all the way out there.
The voice of many childhood people. You know?
Yeah. Like that's a really good one. How can you not meet him, you know?
Right on. All right, well, let me ask you then real quick. You may have answered this previously, but give me one of your favorite actors that you've met. I will also ask actress and then director again, but I know you've met so many, so give me one of your most memorable, if you don't have a favorite.
No, I have a few.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the most proper and nice people you can possibly meet, and he takes his time with every fan. He doesn't rush anybody out. He's got a story for everybody. He's just got a way with every fan to relate and make it a great experience for them, especially with the amount of time they end up having to wait to see him.
Right, so he makes it definitely worth than the time and the money.
Yes,
right,
absolutely.
Okay.
One of the nicest people that I have ever met is also Russ Streiner from Night of the Living Dead, the original black and white one. He was the one who played Johnny. And Judith O'Day, who played Barbara, she's also a sweetheart. Just very genuinely nice people. Like, my wife wasn't even meeting Russ Streiner, and he told her to come over and take a picture with him and everything like that. So he just cares about meeting the people that come out to see him.
That's dope.
Yeah. And Matthew Lillard, he's a very, very genuine person. If anybody gets the chance to meet him, definitely do it. And he's funny as hell, too. So.
Yeah.
I like funny people.
Oh, hell yeah.
He'd be someone that I'd be interested in meeting, too, just because he had played in many roles in different movies that I had watched growing up or were a big part of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, all right, well, let's shift gears a little. Give me some of your favorite actresses that you've met.
I'd say two of the coolest ones I've ever met were Tiffany Shepis and Felissa Rose.
What roles did they, or what famous roles have each of those?
Well, they mainly do like lower budget horror. A lot of people would know Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp. She played Angela, the little girl in the original one, with the big reveal at the end.
I've heard a lot about that movie.
That's a great movie.
Actually,
the whole trilogy is great. But
I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's like one of the old school like movies, right? Like your typical like your naked chicks slasher film, right? Like,
yeah, it came out roughly around the same time as like Friday the 13th came out. Right. It's got the same vibe.
Nice. All right, go ahead. My fault.
Tiffany Shepis, she just pretty much does all lower budget films and stuff. She's just a badass person to talk to. Honestly, everybody has a good encounter with her. As far as actresses go, I don't know. There was a lot that were really nice to meet, but only I think those two were the ones that really kind of stick out. Okay. I had mentioned Judith O'Day before. So,
any directors stand out?
I think I've only ever met two. Okay. And they're both extremely big. There was John Carpenter.
Nice.
Who hit on my wife.
Nice.
That's
Shout
great.
out Lucia. All right.
And I met George Romero.
I'm not too...
he did Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
The whole Dead series.
I got you. Right on. Favorite? Or both good experiences? I shouldn't ask that.
Both good. I would say John Carpenter was a little bit of a better experience.
Okay.
George Romero was a little rushed.
Okay.
Not going to lie, a little whiny.
Right on.
Kind of panicky, I guess you could say. Whiny's not right. That's not the word, but
Didn't hit on your wife.
did not hit on my wife.
All right. Have any of these people you've met, have they ever said anything to you that that you have made that you know that you may have taken to heart, or maybe they gave you some type of advice, you know, that you carry with you currently?
No.
No.
No. I
Nothing?
can honestly say no. I mean, they always say like nice things and stuff, but I don't think I've ever asked like.
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever
inspirational.
asked for anything inspirational.
All right. Someone that you've yet to meet in the horror genre that you've been waiting for. You got anyone that you could?
I have a few.
Okay.
Okay, we've got Emily Perkins from the movie Ginger Snaps.
I'm unfamiliar.
Greatest werewolf movie ever made.
Okay.
That's highly debatable, according to a lot of people. Most people say it's American Werewolf in London, but whatever. Shawnee Smith from The Blob. Back in the
The
80s.
original?
No, the
Blob?
80s.
Okay.
The remake. The better one.
Did Kevin Dillon play in that?
Yes,
one?
he did.
Okay. Right on.
Well, technically now you could, because apparently there's a rumor that they are remaking it again.
I've heard that actually.
I don't
too.
think that needs to be done, to be honest. That movie was pretty perfect as is. But actually, I've met most of the cast of my favorite movie, The Return of the Living Dead. I have 2 people left to meet to complete that whole main cast of that movie. I have Joel Shepard and John Philbin.
Awesome.
So they're just
That's
part of
pretty
the
cool.
punk group in that movie.
It's like a bucket list thing. I can't even talk.
Kind of, yeah.
That's cool.
And then there's Alyssa Milano. But who doesn't want to meet her?
Right on.
Truth.
All right. Give me one of your greatest memories when meeting one of these famous actors or actresses, if you have one.
I'm sure that there's like a million of them.
Give me one that comes to mind, maybe.
Actually, okay, I got a couple of funny ones.
Yeah.
Okay, Tony Todd. Now, before you meet him, if you don't know anything about him other than he played Candyman, and you've only seen him playing that role, you're in for a big surprise because that's not how he really is.
Oh yeah, I know that he's hilarious.
He's like bouncing off the walls, like he just did a line of coke or something, and literally hitting the ceilings.
Really? That's interesting.
What
Because
kind of-
He kept harassing Ernie Hudson because they're like really good friends and they were sat next to each other. So this dude shows up to his table an hour and a half late with a line of people waiting for him. Everybody's getting pissed off and everything. And he comes in and the first thing he does, instead of going into meeting everybody, he starts harassing Ernie Hudson just to say stupid shit. Ernie would be in the middle of talking to his fan that he's already, conversing with, and then he'd just step in and be like, oh, get his attention. He'd look at him and just say something stupid and then just walk away. Yeah, the lady at the table who was dealing with his stuff actually had to yell at him and tell him to come over and do his job.
that's actually quite surprising to hear because, like, as you mentioned before, anytime his name is mentioned, I only recall him from a certain role. He fucked up many nights for me as
yeah.
a child.
You know what?
So,
Candyman actually was the very first movie to ever actually scare me.
yeah, many people. So, I mean, that's actually
What,
caught me off guard
What
to
movie
hear about
scared
it.
you the most?
The most? Oh, man. Like I said, that's a tie between The Fourth Kind and probably The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
I've seen that one.
You know,
too.
that
haven't
night I
seen
saw
that
that in
one.
the
I know what
theater,
you're talking about.
and the drive home was a foggy night, so that didn't help.
Mhm.
And my buddy and I actually screamed on the way home because a bunny rabbit ran out in the road.
Mhm.
Scared the shit out of us.
I don't mean to laugh.
Eh,
That's funny.
it's a laughable moment.
All right. Can you think of maybe one of your worst memories or experiences when meeting one of these people?
I know I have a few of those too. Give me a second. Okay. I was not necessarily the one meeting him. My wife was. Pauly Shore.
Nice.
Yeah. You,
What was
you,
your
you
Oh,
would-
I mean,
you would-
this is
you
the
would
worst
think
experience.
so.
Sorry.
You would
what's
think
the
so.
Question?
What
What's
was
one of the
experience?
worst memories or experiences when meeting someone?
Yeah, that dude did
I
not
wanna
give a
hear-
shit at all.
No.
Nope, he was not paying attention to her. he signed the shit and kind of like tossed it and then went to walk away. And then she's like, could we take a picture? And he just takes the picture. He's all, yeah,
Wow, so he's a douchebag?
he kind of was. And that's not the first time I've heard it either. Like I've seen other people's encounters with
I
him.
can see
just,
it actually. I can see it.
Maybe he's just
Stuck
pissed
up.
that his career is washed up.
Could be.
Don't
Is
go.
he's still
Don't go
alive,
to cons.
right?
Don't take people's money and meet them if that's how you're going to be.
You ever seen the show Entourage?
Sort of. My brother
Sorta.
was the Entourage guy.
Yeah, I've mentioned this show quite a few times in recent or in past shows because it's one of my favorite shows too. But Pauly Shore plays like a few cameo roles in a few episodes, but like I don't know. I mean, he's funny as shit.
Oh, he is. He's
in
funny
those-
as hell in
but,
the movies, but
right as a
That's what I'm
human being,
saying.
it's
I'm a little disappointed now.
yeah.
understandable.
That's why I'm like, can you repeat the question?
Understandable because I mean I feel like a lot of these actors and actresses, whatnot, people of quote unquote importance or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them can be kind of douchey at times, but
Zach Galligan as well, the guy who plays Billy in Gremlins. You ever see Gremlins?
yes, classic.
The
classic.
main guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
kid.
He's
Billy was the main character.
the main guy, yeah. Who
The one that got
takes
him.
care of Gizmo and everything. Yeah, he's not exactly one of the friendliest people either.
Really?
He just kind of looks a little stuck up when you walk up and you're like, all right, whatever.
It's a bad experience with him too, huh?
Yeah. I would say it just did not live up to my expectations.
Okay. All right, Anthony. Let me ask you a few more questions real quick.
Sure.
What was it like meeting Sid Haig?
It was a very quick experience.
Okay.
Because I made it quick. He had a really long line.
Okay.
Dude was old. He was really old. You could tell he was struggling to get through everything. So I'm one of the more considerate fans where if I realize that a line is taking forever, I try not to hold up all their time. But very nice guy.
Very nice.
Super
guy.
nice dude. Good experience. I'm happy with the experience I had meeting him the one time I did.
Okay. He's a horror legend, and he had recently. I mean, recently passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So you have met him, obviously, before that. Angela, you familiar with who that is, or?
No, I'm not.
All right. For people who may not be familiar with who he was, I mean, I'm sure you know more, Anthony, but I mean, he played in House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects.
Captain Spaulding.
Yes. What else? I don't know. Those are what I knew him from. But I do know that he had impacted the whole horror genre immensely. So when he had passed, I know that I saw it had affected a lot of people. So when I saw that you had met him, I thought that was kind of cool. Let's move on. I want to ask you about this person because a lot of people don't think of him as someone who may have been in the horror genre. More so now, maybe a comedic actor or roles that he's played most recently. But what was the experience like when meeting Justin Long?
Oh, that was fantastic. If I ever get the chance to meet him again, I'm totally doing it.
Okay,
Nice.
why so? What made it so dope?
The guy you see on TV
Mhm.
is the guy you meet. He's goofy. He's super nice. He's just awesome.
So he's real.
I can't say enough nice things about that man.
That's awesome. That's
Actually,
that's good to
completely forgot about that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, I remember because I saw him. When Jeepers Creepers first came out. I think I was back in high school,
Yeah.
but I saw that in the movie theaters, and that was a movie that kind of intrigued me. The whole story behind that, and I thought he did a pretty good job. Like I was
I must
upset.
have missed the story behind it. I love that movie.
Well, I
It's
mean,
kind of creepy, but
I believe it was based off or loosely based off real events or something happening where not necessarily with a monster or whatever, but somebody who had killed somebody or two people on the highway and dumped their bodies. whatever. I think I've seen that or read that somewhere, so don't quote me on that. But like I said, loosely based off of that the story, not the monster angle of it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he was in a lot of movies that I mean, excuse me, that I've watched growing up as well. So that's why I wanted to ask that too, because one of my favorite ones was Accepted. I know it's not a horror movie. I know we shouldn't be steering away from that, but Accepted was.
I've actually never
awesome.
seen that whole movie.
For real?
For real.
Damn, bro. That shit's a classic. But all right, the last person I want to ask you real quick, once again, because she was a big part of my childhood in movies. What was the experience like when meeting Neve Campbell? Or is it Neve? I'm sorry. Neve or Neve Campbell?
I think it's Neve.
Okay. I have heard it pronounced the other way. I didn't want to mess that up, but...
She was very nice. Once again, that was another situation where, like, the line was long, so I kind of moved it on really quickly. But, she's a very pleasant lady. Right on. You familiar with who she is, Angela?
No, I know who she is, yeah.
Okay.
I think we say Neve and it's wrong, so it's Neve.
Neve, yeah. Yeah. Most popular for her roles in the historic Scream movies.
Don't forget about The Craft.
Yeah, correct.
That's good too.
That's old school, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once again, not steering away from horror movies, but in Wild Things.
Fantastic movie.
Right. So, all right, real quick, Anthony, we're going to be wrapping it up soon, but let me ask you, who is your, if you had to pick one, who is your Scream queen?
Cassandra Peterson.
Okay.
She's not necessarily she's more of a host than anything, but I think that she represents horror more so than any other.
Right on. Angela, you got any more questions?
If you could create your own horror movie, what would it be about?
Okay. I actually have... I pitched this idea to a buddy of mine who likes to write, and I wanted him to write a book about it. But it's more sci-fi, actually, than it is horror. But hey, they're
It works.
almost one and the same. But it was actually a very biblical thing. Not so biblical, but more about God and everything. But it was about the creation of aliens, I guess you could say, and how they came about and how we ended up being what we are and why they're the superior beings. You know, basically it was he was experimenting, trying to create that perfect being that we supposedly are. And basically the experiment went south each time and moved on to a different world.
It's funny you say that because that's actually how I felt about religion when I was a teenager.
Really?
Yeah.
So you believe in aliens?
I believe could be something else.
I mean, I don't believe in little green monsters, but you know.
No.
Well, I was going to ask you that too. You believe in a another or other living...
Why would it not be possible if we're
Yeah.
here? That's how I see
Who
it.
are we to say? You
And
know?
I think that's exactly like God messed up and he's just trying again. Like it's just experiment. I don't know. I always thought that when I was a teenager, like that's how I was raised very like Catholic.
Mm-hmm. Well, the galaxy's very big, you know.
You know.
Mm-hmm. But everybody crapped on my idea, just to make a long story short.
Honestly, I think it would've
everybody's
been a
answer to
pretty-
that is God doesn't make mistakes. I'm like, it's a fucking movie. Would you chill?
Well, I was
Well,
going to say though
God
too
was
when you
human once, so why wouldn't he make mistakes?
Well, I was going to say though too when you had mentioned the whole the idea of that, you better hope that everyone who's listening, that no one takes that
I was
and
gonna
runs
say,
with it, you know.
In my opinion, that would have been a pretty cool
It's not going to
movie.
work with mine, but whatever.
Good. All right, go ahead, Angela. What's a
All right. So, have you ever had a nightmare inspired by a horror movie?
Oh, definitely. My favorite movie has probably inspired the most.
The fourth.
No.
Another
The
one.
Return of the Living Dead. Like I always think about like what would happen if that movie actually played out. Like if there were containers that had the trioxin in it and they broke open and started a infestation of zombies or whatever you want to call it.
So you're a big zombie fan.
Nah, not really. No. Believe it or not. I love the movie so much. But
Gotcha.
I don't like the. First of all, zombies don't run. That's my big thing. But in my favorite movie, zombies run. So it just, I don't know. I'm just one big. When it comes to the whole zombie topic, I'm just one big walking contradiction, I guess you could say. Because The Walking Dead, I'm okay with. Mm-hmm. Those are zombies. Those are deteriorating people. They don't run. They can't chase after you. But then you got the movie World War Z, and you've got all these crazy zombies climbing each other at like record-breaking speeds to get over walls and up to helicopters and stuff. That's bullshit.
Not very realistic.
No, that's total bullshit.
Last one. Do you think watching horror movies desensitizes people to fear and violence?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I agree with that. What do you think, Josh?
I mean, that's the whole thing. Like when people talk about like video games and whatnot too. You know what I'm saying? I feel in regards to that, I mean, loosely, you could probably say yes. Just the more you obviously see or watch or do or repeat whatever, the more you're gonna get used to it. So you know what I'm saying? The more you see violence and killing and all that shit, like eventually, you know, it's just like, all right. Maybe that's why everyone is so into this Terrifier too, because the killings are so brutal. Everyone's gotten used to the normal stabbings and all that bullshit. And then
it's more realistic.
Right, and now it's gotten a little violent. So we as a society, we're getting a little fucked up.
Well, I actually do have something to say about that. A lot of people complain about Rob Zombie's Halloween, his remake, because they say it was too violent, too bloody, too violent. I'm like, that's kind of bullshit because murder is not clean. He did it more realistically than anybody else. So, yeah, I mean, the violence was a little over the top, but when you're beating somebody, you don't just stop, you know?
That was very well put. Murder is not clean. And I did enjoy Rob Zombie's
I love that movie.
Remake of Halloween. I thought it was very well done.
People that want to hate, shut up.
Angela, anything else?
I think I'm good.
All right. Anthony.
Yep.
Before we go, last thing, something new that we're trying to do with every guest that comes on the show. All right. Mm-hmm. Give us a name of someone in your life. You know, it could be personal, someone on social media, someone that you have contact with that you would think would be a good guest for our show. Now, our show is very broad. And like I said, this is just a name. We're not, you know what I'm saying? We're not gonna hound these people, but we're gonna ask every guest, you know, to give us someone that they think that might be a good fit or be a good you know, a good fit for the show.
Now, regarding the same topic or
no,
just in general?
Just in general. Like I said, our show is very broad. If you go through you are the 53rd episode, so if you go through the previous 52, you will see that that we're all over the place, and we talk about anything and everything. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, I got two people for you.
Go ahead.
I got my brother, Chris DeCaprio.
Okay.
And I have my buddy Mark Ferguson.
All right, awesome.
I would say the two of them, like, probably complete. Between the three of us, we would probably know almost everything about anything.
Awesome.
Nice.
I appreciate that. We also appreciate you, again, for coming on It's All Relative.
Yeah, I appreciate being here.
Absolutely, bro. Is there anything or anyone that you'd like to plug or shout out?
No, I don't think so.
No. What are your social media accounts in case that fans want to get at you?
Instagram, Tismere219.
Okay.
And on Facebook, it's just my name, Anthony DeCaprio.
All right. Angela, what are your socials?
Instagram, random Ange78.
All right. And you guys can always find me at Josh_Toth3. That's my Instagram. And my Facebook is Joshua Toth. Big shout out to Stellar Sound and Media and our editor, Jackson Wallace. Also, big shout out to Timber Design and Build and the whole team. If you're in the Hudson Valley region and are looking for any home renovations and you want quality work done by a team that does pristine work, contact Timber Design and Build through Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to the channels and check out some of the jobs the team has worked on. If you got any questions at all, ask for Chris Rawl or Jeff Wigman. And you guys can find them, on all social media platforms. Also, quick reminder to the It's All Relative fans. Please, if you've enjoyed what you've heard today, subscribe to the show. It's free. And if you subscribe, you'll never miss an episode when they drop.
And don't forget that you can subscribe and follow It's All Relative on Apple Podcasts, Spotify for podcasters, YouTube, Google Podcasts, and now Amazon Music as well.
Yes, so please leave a quick review and a rating. If you're using Apple Podcasts, leave a quick review and a rating on the Apple page. That would really help us out and the show. And lastly, quick reminder, this episode today will not just be audio, but it is video as well. So once again, when everything is released, don't forget to listen and watch the show. The links will be posted. All right, that's a wrap. Anthony, thanks again, bro.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Angela, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Always. All right, everyone, stay safe, stay kind, stay proud and powerful, and we'll see everyone soon. Peace.